unleash the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. We have every right to dream heroic dreams. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. We unleash the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. We have every right to dream heroic dreams. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look.
All right. Let's see if my mic is all right. I'm good. Mike, everybody can hear me. We took a week off and we are back with a recap show. CT54. Hopefully for you guys, it was everything we promised. We started off the 4th of July weekend with a bang, like we kind of promised. So without further ado, we're doing something a little different tonight. Andy and I will say we got beat up this show. We put a lot of work in, and we kind of were like, you know what? It was a lot to try to coordinate a show last week. We didn't want to go another week without a show, so we said, let's do a show, and we're going to do it from our porch. So from my home in Plymouth, Mass, and now, without further ado, Andy from his home. And
I can't hear you, boss.
I can hear you, Andy. Everybody can hear you.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can.
Yeah.
I can't hear you. I haven't heard any of it. I haven't heard the video. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what you've said. I'm lost. I caught you on the phone.
So anyways, Andy, you figure out your sound.
This is useless. I don't know what to do.
I'm going to pull him out while he can. So I'm going to pull him out of the stream for now. Use your speaker. Turn them up. But anywho, so we're going to see if Andy can get in here real quick. The weatherman is in. Shout out to Carlos Ballester, an amazing performance debut. Shout out to Will Asia, a great fight. I know it wasn't the victory you were hoping for, but you pulled it. You know, you definitely were entertaining, and you know, we look forward to having you back. Pull the rabbit out of your ears. Is Andy living in the aquarium? I gotta say, I love Andy's set, man. Will Asia, shout out to Valdina on the commentary. Appreciate the good good fight. Shout out to Andrew Valdina. Like, you know, this kid's fought for us so many times as a fighter, and you know, this is a rare card that he was off, so it just made sense to get him in front of the fans because everybody loves the gladiator. So it's just another opportunity to expand, you know, in this sport. Sorry, motorcycle across the street. But in the sport, you know, it's more than just fighting. You know, it's mic work, it's interviews, it's things of that nature. And we're always looking to give the opportunity to our fighters. You know, instead of bringing others in, it just makes sense for us that, we are Cage Titans. We want to grow the people from within. So, excited to have Valdina. He's one of the more experienced amateurs, so it was great to have him in there. You were definitely doing some magic in there. So, Boppy, Bull Parlant, definitely a great card. Shout out to Boppy, former opponent of mine. I think I made my pro debut against him. And he actually reached out and was looking, kind of answered the call when I was looking for some people to help out at the show. And he came down, worked the show. We kind of had a little bit of talk, and we're looking to get him on the August card. If Valdina fights in August or I'm staying home, I think a lot of people, they want Valdina back in the cage, as exciting as seeing him in that Pikachu or whatever the hell that Pidgeotto mullet that he's got going on. As handsome as that fella is and as good as you on the mic, we love you in the cage. So we look forward to seeing you guys. It looks like Andy's got his sound going. So boom, I didn't cheers us yet, Andy. Are you there?
Hey, I got a couple leftover Fight Night IPAs that we could cheers with. You got your monster.
I got it. I got to live
back
off
in action.
So cheers to Andy. Cheers to everybody in Cage Time. So now we can officially start the show. Somebody asked if you're living in an aquarium, Andy.
In an aquarium, yes. This is actually the sticks that I live in. This is the town. This is what it is. Yeah, a little under the weather. We didn't do a show yesterday. We took last week off, obviously, because 4th of July, yay, America. But we did have a crazy event that we do got to break down. Normally, we chuck it out the Monday afterwards. But even after this event, I think both you, myself, the whole crew, the real MVPs of the weekend, everybody was kind of zoinked out at the end. It was we needed a week off, but we're back at it. We got to break down the fights because before long we got August 27th that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, and just want a quick reminder. I did throw it up in the comments. Any fighters that do or fans that want to call in and talk, we're welcoming everybody. So I put the StreamYard in there. All you got to do is basically you type it in, you put it in your phone, and it's FaceTime. So you can pop up with us if you have any input. Some of the guys, that want to call in and talk about their fight when we get to it. Fans like Rob Pico, if you ever want to call in and you want to talk about your favorite moments from the night. We're super casual today. We're trying something new, doing remote. It's out so far. Andy, besides your sound, was it just restarting your computer? Got your sound going?
Nah, I fucked up and I didn't reset the audio input. It was completely on my end. It wasn't nothing restarted. It was my own Polish error.
All right, there we go. Well, I guess we'll address the one quick thing we had. Obviously we did have some streaming issues at the beginning of the event. But what was our misfortune of not being able to get the Ticket Spice pay-per-view working, we got the free pay-per-view, the free stream out for everybody. So hopefully everybody enjoyed it. If you saw our opening graphic, our new cage rig, light rig was in. The stream looked good. The lighting looked great. Anybody wants to talk about that, we'd love to see what it was like at home for you. In person, Andy, what do you think of that light?
The light rig in person, it made the show look that much better in person. The videos are that much better. The pictures are insane. It was a great addition to the show, despite the risks that were needed to be taken to put that up.
Well, what happened behind the scenes, no one needs to know.
It's like Vegas there in Plymouth.
Yeah, so there you go. But anyways, so my apologies to those guys, but everybody that did purchase the pay-per-view got a full refund. We don't play games like that. So I know at first people are a little nervous about it, but everybody got a full refund. We were able to get the streams out for free. If you haven't seen the fights yet, they're already up on our YouTube, so you can watch the full event. So, we didn't want to, make anybody miss what they came for. So we did rectify the situation, and, sometimes good things come out of a bad situation. So hopefully you enjoyed the stream.
Shout out to everybody that didn't want a refund. I mean, getting the refund anyways, but appreciate your fans for understanding that occasionally shit does happen. But listen, we're gonna work this out. We're gonna make it all right.
I gotta say, the as much as people were upset and on fight night at the very beginning, which I feel them, like they're there to watch their friend and family. They might have made the decision not to come to the show because they could watch at home, and they were a little bummed out. But we got the stream up, and the overwhelming support like was amazing. Like I can't tell you how many messages from people. They're like, Mike, shit happens. You made it right. Like keep our money. We don't care. Like, and there was a lot more of those. Then there were some people that went hard at us online, and they were like, sent us apologies. Like, dude, I'm so sorry. Like I went pretty hard on you, but like you guys are amazing. You made it right and tenfold. So shout out to our fans. Like you guys really are passionate and really make it worth it for us. But anyways, yeah, I love Rob Pico gets rowdy just to bust my balls. I love Rob Pico. Shout out to you and your Second Wind Brewing tab. If you have not come to Plymouth ahead of the show and gone to Second Wind, you got to see the brewery. It's like 3 blocks down from Plymouth Memorial Hall, and it is where they brew the Cage Titans Fight Night IPA, which Andy's drinking. And Rob Pico had a nice $232 tab. If you go down there, make sure you say hi to Rob Pico because his tab gets that large because pretty much he'll buy anybody and everybody a beer. So if you want a quick little free beer before the show, go down and see Rob Pico over at Second Wind. Enough about the plugs. We're here to talk fights. Andy, let's go.
Listen, I just opened up my notebook for the first time since fight night. It's been that long, and there's still blood stains trickled on every piece of paper that was left on top from that main event, on all the
holy shit
calling cards, all of these. There's blood trickled all over the place because it was that crazy of a fight night from start to finish. Started late, but all the fights were delivering crazy finishes from the amateurs to the amateur titles to the pros, starting off with the heavyweights. This one ended pretty quick between Donovan Lozada and Deshaun White. Deshaun White had a Triforce, putting quick work, getting that like a modified Dagestani handcuff position. And the heavyweights, they don't really throw too many light shots, and that ground and pound was ferocious to make quick work of Donovan Lozada at a G&G and Deshaun White climbing to 1-0 and making a splash at the heavyweight division. Starting off with the big boys, it might be a habit to start making, boss.
Well, hey, man, I got to say, I always start off with the lower weight classes, 25, 35. And you even questioned me, like, what's going on? A heavyweight to stop the show? And I don't know. I had a feeling that fight was going to be great. I think it delivered. Not only that, what about that? The great white Deshaun immediately makes his debut. And who's he call out? The champ, the bounty hunter, Hassan Graham. What a way to make a debut. What a way to start a card. And hats off to both those guys.
Yep. Big debut indeed. Not too many people chomping at the bit at the heavyweight division, but new blood indeed. And Deshaun, the great white, climbing to 1-0.
Rob Pico, I don't know what you're talking about. Did you write down, holy shit, the chick in the mezzanine, seat 4, row 5 is hot. I have to see her at the after party. I don't know what you're talking about. Pixar, it didn't happen. We got to see who you're talking about. So Rob Pico is always great for a comment. But yeah, man, shout out to Lozada and Deshaun White starting the show off with a bang. And you know what people don't understand and why I have to really thank those guys, because as we were going through the stream issue, we're telling these guys the first fight's going to be like 6:15, between 6:15 and 6:30. We didn't start till almost after 7. That is a tremendous stress on these fighters, because like they want to get ready. Do they get ready? Like how prepared? They're kind of on standstill. So like in one hand, it's like, all right, let's figure out the stream and get it working because we want to capture these fights. In the other hand, we have to balance out like how long can these guys wait warmed up? And they stayed like a trooper. They were like, yeah, let's just get the stream going if we can. We're good. We can wait. And so thank you to those guys, because being the first fight, as a fighter, you're trying to time your warm up when it's ready to go. Yep. And it's like, all right, we're ready to go. Wait a minute, we're not ready to go. They handled it like pros, and they were both first timers. So thank you guys.
Starting off with the big boys. Oh, yeah, I can't really read that well, so I don't write too much down. I just go off the cuff. But moving in to the second fight of the July 4th weekend card, Mike Antidormi against Xavier Cardona. Xavier Cardona coming out superhero Alex's sidekick with the moniker that time around, coming out with the superhero costume and fighting for a good cause. Make-A-Wish, I believe it was, and what a fight it was. He just showed his warrior spirit through and through. Anthony Dormi was really getting the better of him all 3 rounds. I think he pitched a shutout on all 3 cards. I think a couple of 10-8 rounds scored, but Cardona coming at him like a zombie towards the end of the 3rd round. I was just amazed at how he was still in the fight and looking for a way to finish. Anthony Dormi, though he was down, he was beaten, battered, but never broken 1 second. And sometimes in a loss, that can almost impress people more. But Anthony Dormi, nothing to take away from him. He looked incredible pitching a shutout. He just fought somebody who would not have an ounce of quit. And Mike Anthony Dormi made a huge splash, climbed to 2-0. First win inside of Cage Titans, all the way up in Connecticut Combat. And I think he's pretty hungry to start making a run at some title belts. And after a performance like that against a former title challenger, I can't disagree too much.
Yeah, man. I mean, he looked great in there. And let's be real, like, he's training with Dan Dubuque. We know Dan as a former Cage Titans amateur champ and pro champ. You know, the likes of those type of guys that you're training with, it's only a matter of time before you see him in a title contention. I mean, I don't want to match make, but there was somebody in the comments earlier. I could definitely see something kind of playing out with, with those two. Use your own deduction skills to see who maybe I'm talking about, but that would probably be a fun fight. But yeah, either way, Mike's already reached out. He's looking forward to coming back in August, and we'll see what happens. Real quick, with some of the stream problems, we weren't able to get this video to play, and this was something that was important to Xavier before his walkout. So I want to take a minute and play that video now, if I can get it working. I just tried to get it out of my Facebook messengers. So let's see if I can get it up. Give it a second.
To watch a fight?
It wasn't the best quality, so I do apologize.
Still some moves.
I'm working on a Facebook video. But that was what why it was so important for Xavier to fight, was in honor of Superhero Alex. That was a lot of people that first saw him come out in that costume, Xavier. They're like, what the fuck's this? Sorry. What the hell's this guy doing? Why is he coming out like that? And there was a whole purpose behind it, but unfortunately we couldn't get that video to play. He walked out. He had Alex on FaceTime the whole time in the locker room, the entire walkout. So, that fight was bigger than Xavier. That was bigger than Cage Titans. There was a lot of meaning behind it. So I want to make sure that gets noted. But either way, no takeaway from Mike Antononi. Great performance in his Cage Titans debut. But, hats off to Xavier and Superhero Alex.
Big time indeed. And from the walkout to the heart he showed in the fight to, I'll never forget that 3rd round towards the end of it. Xavier just walking Anthony Dormi down with the hands down, swinging bombs, just no quit. Win, lose, or draw. One of my favorite people to watch and call fight is Xavier Cardona. That was no different. Always game. Always hungry at it. Can't wait to see him in there again, especially fighting for good causes like this. And Anthony Dormi, big step up into the title picture. Yeah,
for sure. And this is a great opportunity. Like, if we've said it before, we give you the stage. What do you do with that moment? Make your moment. Nick, I see Nick in the comments. That was something that we've talked about before. Like, you get this stage. What do you do with that opportunity? What do you do with that moment? Like, do you make the most of it? And we want to showcase that for you. So, Will Asia is another one who took his moment and made it. If you have anything special planned, we had Hassan Graham with a rapper walk out for the first time, a live performance. If you have something like that planned, let us know ahead of time so that we can get that, we can get it the coverage. coverage that it rightly deserves. Like Gabriella Golfin came out to, I had to ask my wife the song, Megan Trainor. I just kept on like, boom, 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 boom. Like I don't even hot. No, that was Sergey with the hot and cold. But anyways, Andy's shaking his head. But there was a Megan. She came out with a whole choreographed dance, and I remember on the stage being like, "Holy shit! Look at her doing this like whole routine." And I'm screaming down to Nick, get this, Nick, get this, Nick. So if you're planning on doing something crazy or fun or whatever, what's up, Belly? Make sure you let us know so that we can make sure we capture it. A fog machine for the next walkout will. Unfortunately, they do not allow fog machines at Memorial Hall. But yeah, so anyways, if you plan on bringing something a little spicier, a little different, loop us in so we can make sure the moment doesn't get lost when you make it.
Yeah, all moments like that are welcome. And it doesn't matter if you've been at it before or not. If it's your first fight or your first pro fight or last fight at Cage Titans, it doesn't matter. It's your moment. It's your stage. We do it for you because both of these guys coming up in this next fight, both making their debut.
Watering our plants.
Making an appearance on Table Titans. She's not on Facebook. Hi, Shelly. But both of these guys making their debut, Tom Duffy and Jake Callender. Tom Duffy had a G&G, Jake Callender had a Sid Tong, and these guys brought it for 3 rounds. Callender was able to implement a really strong grappling-heavy game plan, pretty much dominant through the fight. And Tom Duffy showing every bit of heart to not get finished, trying to find avenues to land his shots, get back up to his feet. I think he landed some pretty good shots to Callender, cut him open a bit. Both guys were bleeding towards the end, but Callender diligent, looking for a finish, and was able to score a very late finish. 3rd round, I think the 10-second clap had gone up. There's only a few seconds left in the fight, but Callender able to secure that rear naked choke and get the 3rd round tap and climb to 1-0.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun moment. And you know me, I like to tell the story behind the story. We all know what happens in the cage. We can watch the fights. And he might be upset that I share this, but his coach already shared it. I went in the back after Jake's fight, and this fight in particular, and Jake was just overrun with emotion, like just bawling his eyes out, like, I can't believe this, and just crying, like, and hey, listen, this comes from me. You know me, I cry at a drop of a hat. Like, I have no problem showing my emotion. And it was just amazing to see that outpouring of emotion from this kid in his very first fight. And remember, these 2 guys were very young. No,
they're young, but it's not the other 2 debuting guys.
But yeah, it was a pretty cool moment. The outpouring of emotion, and a lot of the fans may or may not know that. Like, it's just when you fight, it is emotional roller coaster, ups, downs, sideways, upside downs, like everything. And it was like that moment, his first fight in front of all those people, it released, and it was just such a pure, raw moment. It was amazing to see.
All class immediately afterwards, though, immediately checking on his opponent, Tom Duffy, making sure he's okay, so that he waited till after he left the cage for that raw emotion to really exude out. But, Jacob Callender, real impressive performance. Cardio to boot, and a big win in his debut.
Yeah. So, definitely, it was definitely very cool.
Again, starting to have people call in.
Yeah, it looks like Carlos. I don't know if we're at Carlos's fight, but Carlos is looking for the link. I'm going to throw that up there, but those fights were phenomenal. But yeah, so I'm sure both guys are going to be back. I see Tom Duffy fighting this weekend in New York. He's already reached out thanking me for the time. I will tell you this, guys. If I have not gotten back to you, this is my phone. See this? Nothing. My phone has been off. I'm not discriminating against anybody if I'm not replying to you. It just comes down to taking a little bit of time off. We don't have our next event for another 8-9 weeks. So it's just really just trying to, take a little downtime. We did 9 fights in 12 months. We did two in the last month. So I promise you, August 27th, every fighter who wants to fight for Cage Titans, I say it all the time, we'll get you a spot on the card. I'm probably taking another.
And if we don't get you a spot on the card, then probably going to throw another show together.
Oh, don't jinx me, Handy. I'll do that.
I just know you too well. The hell, boss.
Yeah. So I will get back to everybody accordingly. But yeah, shout out to Jake Callender and Tom Duffy, and good luck to Duffy. He's looking to rebound this week out in New York with the rest of his teammates. I think Lazada's fighting out there this weekend. So yeah, good luck to those guys.
Absolutely. Moving on to the next fight. Another debuting fighter in Ben Bratko, traditional martial arts background at a Triforce, taking on the 1-0 Brody McDougal. And man, this fight was fireworks. Both guys landed some explosive strikes. Bratko's throwing hook kicks, spinning wheel kicks, cracking McDougal right in the face, and then Brody McDougal. Kid's a powerful striker who, just stuck his feet right in the, dug his heels in and threw with bad intentions. He just fights mean and caught Bratko with the right hand that completely flattened him. And I don't think the referee could have gotten there at a more opportune time to prevent the follow-up shot that would have been devastating. But McDougal with the second round knockout, calling out Jack Congdon for the title. That is a fight that I would love to see. I know Congdon wants to go pro. I think he's more than ready to do so. But that's two undefeated amateur prospects that I would love to match up. And McDougal, after his Muay Thai performance and after that stunning knockout in the second round, it's going to be hard to deny that. Even if Congdon does go pro, that's a title fight ready to happen.
Yeah, man. I mean, Brody has done everything he said he was going to do ever since he came to Cage Titans. All the Nostos guys. I've had a great relationship with Carolyn and Devin Powell, sending their fighters down there. They come down and they bring it every time. And they're always hitting my inbox being like, we want more Nostos down there at Cage Titans. And it's hard to argue. Brody led the charge back when he fought for us Muay Thai 2 or 3 shows ago. And the future's bright for that team. And whatever happens next for Brody McDougal, I'm definitely intrigued to see what happens. Whether it is a title fight against Jack Congdon, I'm not sure what Jack's kind of seen everything he wanted to see. I'd be lying if I was not intrigued to see how he would match up with McDougal, because McDougal's a striker. And that was something that Jack always kind of wanted. Jack talked to me before and was like, I want somebody that's going to stand and trade, not try to take me down. He could get that in Brody. Does he need to do one more amateur fight? Nah, I don't know. But sure as fuck, that'd be fun. That definitely would be a fun one. And then if not, I know John Verroot out of G&G, undefeated out Springfield. He's another guy. I'm sorry if I pronounce his name incorrect. You know me. That's why I got Andy. He does the correct pronunciations. I butchered names, so I apologize. But John Verroot, undefeated out of G&G, wrestling stud. He's somebody that's wanted a shot at the Cage Titans title. Shane Delahaye wants to get right back in the mix. He was trying to get on the last card. Some intriguing things that could happen at 170, so we'll see.
Yeah, stacked division, and McDougal's leading the pack right there. Looking forward to see Ben Bratko back in the cage as well. I like the style. He just ran into a big shot, and McDougal, 2-0, devastating striker, and it was a pleasure catching up with him and the rest of the Nostos crew at the after party. Fights mean, real intense, but real good kid, humble kid, and hungry for amateur gold. So looking forward to what the future brings to that young man.
And a fellow hockey player. I'm a hockey player first and foremost before I started fighting. So he's a fellow hockey player. One of the coolest things, he sent me the nicest note. After the fight, usually Brandy and Justin are there and they kind of pay everybody. And they weren't there this show. So I had to kind of go around looking for people. And it was one of the pro fights and I saw him about to leave and I was like, yo, Brody, get over here. I got your envelope. And he sent me the nicest letter. He's like, Facebook message, but I say letter. But, it was just like no one during a pro fight and you're calling me over to make sure I don't leave without my money. He's like, that's something that does not happen anywhere else. Like, I thank you so much. Everything you do for us fighters, you go above and beyond. Like, and you know, like we say, he's a lunatic and he's crazy. Like in the cage, you're like, get the F away from me. This guy's insane. But he took time out. He's super nice, super humble kid. And I see a big future for him.
Indeed, for sure. But yeah, that's just another testament to his temperament outside of the cage right there. That gratuitous note to you. You wouldn't think that that's him when he's walking in there. He's got a murderous rage in him. But yeah.
You think he'd be the guy that's like, where's the promoter? Give him my effing envelope, and like chasing me down. It was crazy. So yeah, shout out to him. And what else we got next? Because I got Carlos in the queue. Are we up to his fight yet?
Yeah, Carlos Ballestier and Matt Martinez is up next. So
why don't you give us a quick breakdown, and then we'll bring Carlos in when you give the breakdown after the
breakdown I have is that was a razor thin fight that I think any 3 rounds could have gone either way. They were exchanging hands, cage control, leg kicks. I remember Martinez's leg kicks being pretty on point, and Ballestier really limping towards the end of the fight. They were both damaging each other in all facets of the striking game, nullifying each other's wrestling with good clinch work. And to have these guys both be under the age of 20 and making their amateur debut, I was beside myself with the striking acumen that they both possessed to go the distance for 3 rounds in that kind of manner and have that kind of composure. I was blown away by the maturity, ring generalship from both of those guys. And it's the fight was a technical specimen for 2 guys that are making their amateur debut. So hats off to both Carlos Ballestier and Matt Martinez. But Ballestier got away with the decision. Like I said, that was one of those fights where, and again, I gotta rewatch that one. But during the fight, I'm thinking you could score any of these 3 rounds either way. Both of these guys are scoring effective shots. But Ballestier, big congrats, climbed to 1-0, and yeah, this was the one you were talking about. Both guys are really young. I was completely blown away by how both these young gentlemen performed.
All right, so let's bring them in. Without further ado, we got the weatherman. Look at him, all looking handsome. So I know the answer.
You already know what's going on.
Yeah, looking handsome. I already know the answer to this, but share the moment that at the end of your fight, like after your fight, because again, we're going to talk about the fight in a minute. You come up to me and you're like, hey, Mike, I need to grab that envelope. What was going on fight night?
Shit, my mom was having contractions, man. She had just had the baby today.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah,
congrats, man.
What?
Yeah. Baby girl, little Lucy, that's her name.
Nice.
But man, she was having really bad contractions because, you know, as a mother, you're gonna be anxious, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, the security walked her out the building, you know.
Yeah.
It was just a crazy ass night. It was nuts.
Dude, it was so insane. So Carlos finds me and he's like, hey, my mom's about to have a baby. I gotta go. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let me get the envelope. And I'm thinking he's driving home because he's from like Springfield out in the Western Mass area. I didn't realize your mom was at the fight. Somebody posted a picture of your mom. I think you did. Your mom was actually at the fights. I thought she was home watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny part,
she was.
And they were like, sent us a what was that? Like, even questioned me, like,
I said, yeah, she was lit. She was real lit.
Yeah. You know what? The other part, Andy, I think you got to mute your speakers. The other part that was funny for me is Carlos, like, you're so young. You're like, yo, my mom's having a baby. And I'm thinking, oh, his girlfriend's having a baby. And then I'm like, wait a minute, this kid's so young that his mom is still having kids. You know, it makes me realize how long we've been doing this for Cage Sites, over 12 years now. We got guys like you, 18 years old. Are you the oldest?
Yep, I'm the oldest out of 10 kids.
Oh, shit. I have 5.
Oh,
you got me beat, my man.
Yeah. I mean, well, my mom got no fucking 10 kids. I mean, my dad got 5 and my mom got 7 now. So, including me. So, yeah.
Damn. So
I don't know how much that is. I don't really want to do that.
And the youngest one almost came after your fight.
Yep.
Rob Pico, one of our super fans, said he's going to buy your mom a bear at your next fight. So before we get to your fight, one other piece of information that I wanted to get out there. Are you cousins with Marcel Romero?
Yeah, that's my family. That's my cousin.
Yeah, because I heard about you through Marcel and Jason Franklin. They're like, yo, this kid's Marcel's cousin. And I'm like, if he's anything like Marcel, he's coming. And you definitely brought it. Bring us through what you thought of the fight and whole experience.
Shit, let me tell you something, bro. I feel like I won that whole fight. You feel me? I controlled the cage. He ran from me the whole fight. Like, no disrespect, you feel me? He cool and whatever, but he ran from me the whole fight. You feel me? Backed up against the cage. I made sure I kept the center. Only thing he really did was the leg kicks, which, you know, my leg is still fucked up right now. So, you feel me? I'm going to give him that. But, the only thing he did was the leg kicks, man. You know, I got the 2 little takedowns in round 2 and then round 3. Those were the icing, a little icing on the top. You feel me? So, my next fight, though, I promise you, I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
I didn't mean anything saying like I thought that fight was close and that any round could go either way. You absolutely had great ring generalship for your first fight in there. It's just like you said, those leg kicks, they was really starting to add up at a certain point. What was it like when like you took a step back, you switched your stance, and for a minute there, I thought you were kind of going down. What did you have to overcome mentally while you were in there? I mean, the adrenaline, everything kicking in, your first fight, you handled that kind of damage like a champ.
Yeah, so like I watched the fight like 1,000 times already. So like the first time he kicked me, you know, my leg flew up in the air. I was like, all right, whatever. I walked towards, he kicked me again. And then I was like, oh shit, let me switch my stance. So I switched my stance. I walked towards a little bit. And then, you know, I felt uncomfortable, so I switched my stance again. And he kicked my foot, my leg again. And I had tripped. I looked up at my mom, my dad. I looked up at everybody for a split second. I was like, nah, I ain't going out like that. Feel me? I ain't no bitch. And this ain't happening. Yeah.
I love that. I can relate. My first fight, the guy pretty much only landed leg kicks on me, and I remember being like, nah, man, this is just leg kicks. And I remember sitting on my stool and looking over at my friends and family, and I was like, same exact thing went through my head. It was like, get up off that damn stool. Don't be a bitch.
Yeah. Also, yo, fun fact, my guy. I fought on street beefs when I was 16.
Oh, shit.
Twice. I got 2 fights, but we don't really talk about that because I got my ass beat. But, you know, I was 16. Barely any experience. I just wanted to get in there. You know, Marcel and my other uncle, you know, they was like, yo, you want to come? And I was like, fuck it, let's go. So I went and got my ass beat. I fought twice in that one day, but
you
show some heart.
Street beefs twice
in one day
at the age of 16.
Yeah, you could watch it, but I advise you not. You know, I got my ass beat, like I said.
Oh man, well that's crazy. I heard that about you. I didn't know that he's like, when I talked to Jason Franklin, he was like, he's kind of like, he's crazy like Marcel. It's one of his nephews or something, his cousin. He's like, he does the street beef shit too. And I'm like, damn, he didn't explain that you actually fought, but wow, 2 fights. Well, hey, man, 16 years old. That's why you looked like a seasoned pro, even though it was your debut.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. I train with killers all day, almost every day, you know, countless. I can name a whole bunch. I really don't feel like it right now, though. But yeah,
oh, good.
You know, shit.
Well,
it was a great experience.
Yeah, we appreciate you calling in because, you know, a lot of times, you know, I say this a lot, like I talked about earlier, like this stage is yours. We build it for you guys. And some guys are like, well, I'm an amateur. I don't want to call in, or they get nervous, or they think they're not important. Andy, mute when you blow your nose. But you know, it's cool to see you guys, like, because this is your moment. This is your time to shine. Like, do what you can. So get as much exposure and stuff like that. So I appreciate you calling in today.
Hell yeah, you already know. Shout out to Cage Signs. I fucking love you guys. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Andy, for, you know, saying my name so cool. I've recorded it and everything. I replay it every morning. Carlos, the weatherman. Oh shit. I show everybody the fight. I'm fucking proud of it. You know, hopefully
Yeah,
I
you
could come
should be
back
there.
soon. Yeah,
Yes.
hopefully I could come back soon. I'm gonna show y'all what I could do. I'm not even satisfied with that win. You know, I ain't show my skills. You know,
Well,
100%.
Carlos, I can
But
tell you this.
next time,
I can tell you this, that Jason hit me up already. I told him, I was like, listen, I'm not thinking about fights for another week, but he did give me your name for August 27th. So we'll hopefully we'll be able to pull something off and bring your new maybe bring your new sister down to the fights maybe.
hell yeah. Hey, 135, 140, 145. I don't care. All right.
All right. Well,
Real
you
shit.
heard the man. Thank you so much for calling in. We'll talk to you again soon, Carlos. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. You have a great day. Appreciate for
You
having
too,
me.
brother, man.
Oh man, I love that kid. You know, like he's just the perfect example of, you know, guys taking the moment and relishing it and getting their name out there and really seizing the moment and
Hey, and just calling to say hi.
yeah, man, it's cool, man. I loved it. You know, because a lot of guys, I've had so many talks with fighters that I'm like, hey, why don't you come on the show? They're like, I'm just an amateur. No one cares about me. Or, you know, like you're doing stuff that people on your Facebook feed wish they could be doing. You know, take the moment in, talk about it, tell people the story. And, you know, like Will Asia, he's like, I'm a fan of this guy, Carlos. And, you know, Carlos probably made a couple new fans tonight. And, you know, not that he might be fighting for fans because he's obviously fighting because he loves it. The kid fought at 16 years old. But, yeah, man, it's just important to be able to get out there, get your name out there, get the word, get your story out there.
Plus, you never know when these intangible skills of speaking on camera, speaking in some kind of interview. Thank you very much, Cam Arnold. Appreciate the shout out. But you never know when these kind of interviews are going to pay dividends later. That's an 18-year-old kid, and he just sounded great there. He might be in a job interview in a few years. And these I don't
Job
know.
interview, yeah.
But like I was humbled because Carlos in particular at the weigh-ins, he comes up to me. He's like, I'm a fan of you. And it's like, fan of me. I'm a fan of you guys. Whoever steps in there to fight, that's what I do it for. And that was a great fight. And, you know, I'm a fan already of Carlos Balestier. So,
yeah, man. That kid,
all welcome to call in.
Yeah. He was super cool. And, you know, I really, I'm telling you, when he came up to me and his mom's having a baby, I was like, I was just like, holy shit. So I kid you not.
If somebody's hunting you down for a check.
I'm literally paused for a second and I'm like, his girlfriend's having a baby. Did he mean that?
And then he did the math.
And then I'm like, wait a minute, his mom's still having kids. He's only 18. She's, you know, like, well, holy shit. I have a 19-year-old. So like, it kind of made me realize real quick, like, man,
And
you know,
we've
been doing this.
So do the math.
Yeah, we've been doing this for 12 years. So now we get these young guys fighting. Anyways, I will give a shout out. Andy did, Cam Arnold mentioned your national anthem. I always love the behind the scenes stories. That was spot on the moment. I've asked Andy to do the national anthem in the past. Like, hey, we don't have anybody tonight. Can you do it? I will give you the replay of that night. We were going through the stream issues and we couldn't get the video feed to go. So usually ever since Harry Jones is passing, we've had Harry Jones's national anthem play every show since his passing. Though it was kind of important that I wanted to make sure we got that done. But we couldn't get the video going. I literally ran up to Andy, smacked him on the back and go, get in the cage and sing the national anthem. And no hesitation, headset off, ran in the cage and busted out that. No warm up, no nothing. And if you're a performer, you know, like you probably know, you got to warm up the vocal cords, all that stuff. That's what it's like on Cage Side's Fight Night. It was like, boom, you're in, buddy. Get the hell in there and sing it. He like looked at me like right now. I'm like, yeah, get in the damn cage now. Andy, awesome job. It's just one of your many talents. And it's you know, on Fight Night, people ask us all the time, what do you do for work? It's like whatever needs to be done. And that's the great thing about Cage Titans. Our fans, our people that are part of the inner circle, everybody. It's like whatever needs to get done, we will do it to make sure that these fighters get the best stage possible. So great job, Andy. Thank you. And that was impromptu singing of the national anthem, and you still crushed it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, boss. Appreciate that, Cam. But yeah, no, anything that needs to get done. And it was like, yeah, we had to get started. we had to get it going. The show must go on.
Yeah, Andy, that takes a bigger set than most can know, and that's why
You guys are the ones that are going in there fighting. That's the set.
Yeah, but it really was. It was, some people might be like, oh, Andy's just in there singing the national anthem. That was literally 10 seconds before he was belting that out, was the smack on the back, and was like, get the F in there. We need to get this going. But thank you, Andy. Thanks, Cam, for even recognizing it. Man of many talents, not just the mustache and the ponytail and the ring announcing.
I wear many hats. I do whatever I got to do. I do what I can. But yeah, that was a hell of a fight on that part, and we're gonna move on to our first Muay Thai fight of the night. Just keeping things moving. Enough about me. This is about the fighters. We got Julian Jiggy Connerton versus Will, the Nigerian Ninja Asia. And these guys were two guys who I was a fan of in their first performances. Will Asia was part of our first combat night. He had a legendary fight against Josh Haglov that we've harped on over the years. And Julian Connerton with the first round knockout over Steve Gaudet. That we haven't really seen that kind of knockout prowess in the Muay Thai ranks. So we faced the knockout power of Julian Connerton versus the evasive maneuvers of Will Asia, and a fight occurred that was, mixing and matching stylistically as we expected. Will Asia making Julian miss a whole lot with head movement, but Connerton throwing persistent strikes. Will Asia throwing in fancy Superman punches to kick combinations. It was just a back and forth battle, clinching up. Both guys landing knees to the body, and Connerton was able to edge out the scorecards by the end of it, landed an accumulation of nice leg kicks towards the end of the round. He really started upping the output and piecing together some combinations. And then Will Asia was making him miss a lot. Just kind of outpointed him there. And it was, back and forth fight with both guys landing body shots, leg strikes, and all the things galore. So, yeah, Connerton improving to 2-0.
Yeah, man, Connerton's looked great in obviously his debut, and then he came in. This was definitely Will Asia has that unique style. Like, he's that guy that's gonna make you miss. He put up a cool video the other day. I think he tagged us in it. It was like, he can't touch this, MC Hammer. Shout out that, like, many fighters probably don't even know who MC Hammer is. As I'm just talking about that 18-year-old fighter, he's probably like, what? But MC Hammer can't touch this. He mentioned that, and he was playing all the clips of the misses. Will has incredible head movement. I'm surprised you didn't give me the Edmund head movement, Andy. I was expecting that.
Head movement.
But and that was the story. It was Julian throwing the big bombs and coming forward, and Will making him miss. Will performed. He kind of did what he said he was going to do. He has that unique, tricky style. He wasn't able to pick up the win, but he's already hit me up like, all right, let's do it in MMA. I want Julian again. I'll do it MMA. He's like, I'm coming back August 27th. Like he's ready to roll. He's looking to fight again, and I'm sure Julian. I got to touch base with Nate Libby. Sorry, Nate. I know you sent me a message. We were going to try to talk on the phone. I'm trying to just get an extra day off, so I will be back probably tomorrow, Thursday, the latest. And then I'll get back to everybody. But I'm sure Julian's going to be looking to come back for August 27th. I have another couple names that he's given me. So let's see, man. Let's see what happens. But speaking about owning the moment, Will Asia doing the split, doing the Spider-Man walk, like,
yeah,
he was a showman, and he definitely took the moment. And what I appreciate about Will is that, like, he said that is who he is, and it's not a show. And a couple people in the comments were kind of giving him shit. He's like, he lost. How can he still be that way? And it's like, that's just who he is. And I respect that, because it's not fake. Like, if he, people will be like, oh, why is he showboating and doing that? That's his style. That's who he is. And he's not deviating from that. So that shows that he's real. And, whether he won or lost is irrelevant. You got to respect the style that he brings, the showmanship, the sportsmanship, all that stuff that he brings. And he made people want to watch. And he knows the lesson. Like, you either want to see me kick someone's ass or me get my ass kicked. I don't want you to feel indifferent. And indifferent in this sport and of entertainment is a bad thing. You want them to care when you fight. And I'm sure Will Asia, people are going to be tuning in next time he fights, either see him get caught and get his head knocked off or see some crazy, ninja stuff that he does. Anywho,
Ninja
Jiggy
stuff
versus
indeed.
Prom Kid. Jiggy versus Prom Kid, great fight. I think that the Prom Kid might try to come back in August. They said like to the fall. That'd be a fun fight, 2 undefeated guys. That would be really cool. I see Don Simmons and Will Asia in the comments. I'll let them fight it out in the comments. But yeah, man, great fight, fun fight. Hats off to Julian because he said he's like, I'm not gonna talk, I'm not gonna boast, I'm not gonna do any of that shit. I'm gonna talk in the cage, and he came and he talked in the cage, and he did his thing.
Yeah, approached it very silently. Let Will Asia do most of the talking leading up, and then it was just back and forth action from bell to bell. Let the action do the talking. So congrats again to Julian Connaughton, and big fights being set up for him in the future. Many options for that young man. And we keep things going in the Muay Thai ranks, moving on to Tony Rivera versus Zach Nastasia. This was another fight that was just crazy, back and forth action. You see Tony Rivera going 0-2 in his past couple of fights at the MMA ranks. His grappling shortcomings really paying his detriment there. Decided to take a quick little detour into the Muay Thai ranks and showcase his striking skills against Fight Zone's Zach Nastasia, who was 1-1 in the Muay Thai ranks, so he had that experience in the kickboxing realm. But Tony Rivera almost scored an early knockout, dropping Nastasia with the beautiful liver kick that he landed a few times. But Nastasia weathered that storm, was able to keep his composure, get back like Chumbawamba, get knocked down, got back up again, drank a whiskey drink and a vodka drink, a lager drink and a cider drink, and got back up and landed a couple of head kicks of his own that flatlined Rivera into the nether regions into the second round. And Rivera kind of bounced back up and was ready to keep going, but the referee stopped it. Well done. Crazy back and forth fight. Both guys getting dropped with nasty shins, and that's why we put these Muay Thai fights together.
Andy, I'm going to have to welcome you to the old man realm. If Carlos didn't teach us anything, you're going to come to my dark side where no one gets our references anymore. I'm sure people are like, what the F is Chumbawamba?
Exactly what I'm talking about, though.
Well, because I'm old. You think Carlos Ballester knows what
I'm old, too.
Yeah,
we're not young anymore, Michael.
That's what I'm saying. I said, we're going to have to realize you are officially in my realm now. That you are
18 years ago. So Ballester, was he
that
born
song
in
came out in 1997 was when
I was
that
5.
song came. That song came out in 97. Nick Heiler is in the old man group because he gets that reference. I'm not sure how many other will get that reference, but yes, Nick,
that song did come out about
97
7 years before Ballester was around. So yeah, maybe nobody does get that reference, but you got it. That's all that matters at the end of the day. But he got knocked back. He got knocked down. He got back up again and finished the fight in the second round.
Martina gets it. She's 30, so she's part of the old person.
So what I'm calling old, boss.
Oh man, it's so funny. But anyways, I told Tony, listen, man, the guys are just taking you down. You got submitted twice. Like at the end of the day, like, why don't we try some stand up? Because like it seems like your hands, like when you let your hands and your legs go, but people are taking you down. Let's try stand up. And he wanted that, and we were able to get him in there with Zach Nastasia. And holy shit, some tree trunk leg shots, like legs were flying with Tony Rivera. He dropped them hard. Zach Nastasia came to my house to pick up his envelope last week, and he showed me his side. He still has the marks.
You could hear that kick from the bleachers, man. That was nasty. And that delayed liver kick reaction. I thought Rivera was jumping in at 1-0 at the Muay Thai ranks, honestly, right there. But showing his toughness, showing his grit. Zach Nastasia getting back up and getting the job done.
Yeah, man. He told me, he's like, dude, I honestly didn't want to get back up. And then he's like, I heard like 8, 9. He's like, I had to get up. I couldn't go out like that. You know, and then he comes back and he bounces back. He drops Tony Rivera twice. It was a great fight. I'm excited to see Tony back in the Muay Thai world. You know, because I think I didn't know this leading up to it, but I guess he's had years of Taekwondo, and that was his original background in the sport. So I think I saw some things promising. I'd like to see him in some other matchups with stand up. And then as for Zach Nastasia, you know, he wants to get back. He's just from the next town over in Kingston. You know, he's looking to get back in there again soon. He's another one. At 155, you got Zach Nastasia, you got Julian Connerton, you got the Prom King. A lot of cool names at 155. You know, that there's a little round robin tournament there I could see happening for our first ever Cage Titans 55 pound title.
I'm liking the sounds of this.
And hey, shout out to Tony Rivera for puking on the doctor. I was surprised you didn't bring that up, Andy.
Yeah, well, that was like, that was kind of funny because I'm sitting there in the cage and like I got the commissioners like, watch out, don't step in that. And I'm like, step in what? And they're like, don't step in that. Somebody puked. And I was like, oh, so I'm sitting there knowing we can't continue until that gets cleaned up. And I'm in the cage. I'm yelling at the ring girls. I'm like, go get some spray, go get some paper. I don't know what else to do. Just go get some stuff and we got to clean this up. Nobody's around. I'm looking for you. You're nowhere to be found. And I'm like, all right, 5-minute intermission. Go get a beer, go get a drink, go get a piece of pizza. We'll be back soon. I'm running through the back, trying to get and then I come back with Clorox wipes and I'm carrying it to the cage and it's already clean because you got in there. But yeah, that was
Tony Rivera puked on the doctor. If you missed it, I'm in the back and the doctor doesn't even know there's puke on his arm. And I didn't realize it was there either. So Tony and the doctor are arguing. He's like, because the doctor wants to suspend him for the knockout. So Tony and him are arguing. And I'm like, what are you guys arguing about? He's like, oh, he wants to suspend me, you know, for 30 days, blah, blah. Like, I'm fine. You should have let me keep fighting. So they're arguing. And I hear you talk about an intermission. And I'm like, and I kind of for a second stopped and I'm like, why the hell is he calling it intermission? It's not intermission. So immediately my antennas go up and I'm like, guys, Doc, we need to get you to the cage. So I'm thinking the intermission is because the doctor's out back because we can't start the fights unless the doctor's cage side. So I'm like, Doc, let's get out there. And then Lila comes running in and she's filling up a bucket of water and pumping the paper towel dispenser, trying to get a bunch of paper towels out. I'm like, what's up? She's like, oh, there's puke in the cage. And then we grab the bucket. I come chasing in. We clean up the puke and we get the fight going back up again. Tony, I think, did get suspended, though. He didn't win the argument with the doctor, but he put a valiant effort in.
Got to do what you got to do, but safety first, man. Knocked out, throwing up like that. You got to take the precautions. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not disputing that, but he showed his power, showed his heart. You know, got knocked down a couple of times in his own right.
He showed his power, he showed his heart, and he showed his lunch.
That he did. That's a way to tie it up there, boss. I mean, we're reliving that moment for a while to come now, I guess. But big congratulations to Zach Nastasia showing his toughness and heart in his own right to find a way to overcome adversity and score a win.
Yes.
And thank you, Martina. No, I'm not a superhero.
He only plays one on TV.
I've never done that either.
It's a phrase, Andy.
I got you. That's right.
Did you stay at a Holiday Inn?
Huh?
You stayed at a Holiday Inn once, though, right?
Whoa, Jesus. Good thing I didn't come
right.
down the coast.
I know, you'd be sneezing all over my arm.
That's what I mean. That's why we're doing this way. But it's not too bad. I had the call in. It worked out all right. Maybe this leads to something in the future. But
yeah, dude, I'm loving your setup, man. Your setup, you're making me look bad, man.
That's not too bad. It's not too
I'm running
bad.
out of daylight though. I was like, all right, I'll start at 7. We'll be done before the sun goes down.
You really thought that you were going to be able to sum this card up after taking 2 weeks off, and you got the energy in just an hour?
Yeah, that's very true. You
Of
know
course
me. It's like
true.
I don't want to do.
You drank a
stuff.
monster before this started.
Yeah, that's nothing. Those are like, well, that's like water. But anyways, enough. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Hassan Graham, I see him in the comments.
Well, we're getting to his fight soon, so we're gonna be seeing his fight again soon, or maybe the champ will want to call in. I see him in the comments, but for now, we got a couple more fights we're going to talk about. This one being between two undefeated studs, Ben Grady versus Sergey Piashunko, and man, did they throw the hell down. Grady and Piashunko back and forth on the feet, diligent clinch battle, and then third round, Piashunko did what he's known to do, implement a heavy top pressure attack, get a isolated position where his opponent's arms aren't available to block any strikes hitting the skull, and not in a Dagestani handcuff. I don't remember it off the top of my head, the exact position, but something along those lines where Ben Grady was pinned down to the ground, completely defenseless, and Piashunko just landing that vicious ground and pound until he got the third round stop, showing he's got a gas tank. He can overcome adversity. Very impressive performance, making him climb to 3-0, and Ben Grady had an evolution. You know, those guys had a hell of an outing, going 2-1 collectively as a team, but Grady showing that representing his team well and showing his heart against another surging contender. And yeah, I think Piashunko might be the one that's next in line for that 155-pound belt, and for my money.
Let's talk about this for a second. Andy, you still got me on? I think I can hear myself. You got me on?
I hear you. We're good.
Okay, because I can hear myself echoing. But anyways, let's talk about the fact that Ben Grady was 4-0 coming into that. So and Sergey was 2-0. Like the type of victory that was for a guy like Sergey, that is huge. He's shown so much in his career so far, and you know it's not like he just went in there and beat up a debut. He beat up an undefeated guy from one of the most respected gyms in Maine. That was a defining, fight for him so far in his amateur career. And it's weird to say that when you see a guy that's only fought 3 times as an amateur, but like that's a quality. Those guys could both be pro fighters. That's the type of the fighters those guys were. And you mentioned 155. Sergey's also fought 170. He in his last fight before that, he took out former title contender Steve Foley, black belt, and took him out. Sergey's the real deal. He could fight for 170 and he could fight for 155. Maybe Sergey's the guy for Brody McDougal at 170, and then he comes back down if Congdon goes pro, and then maybe he comes back down and takes on Miguel Savesin for the 55 title. I mean, there's a lot of options there, and I'm a little excited about any of them.
Yeah, options are very much available. We've seen him go through some real top-tier talent. Sky's the limit for this kid. Sergey Piashunko is a scary competitor, walking out to Katy Perry in fur coats and everything. And,
tie-dye.
I've grown accustomed to, at some point during his fight, just hearing his coach, Josh Belanger, just standing up yelling, smash, smash, smash. That's just that's his repertoire. That's what he does. He just grabs you, throws you on the ground, and smashes.
Well, listen, Sergey, talk about it. I'm glad you brought it up. Talk about owning the moment, or what makes that moment even better is that this guy is he's just a Russian killer. And he comes out to Katy Perry hot and cold. And it's that makes that moment so much better because it's just you never expect it from that kid. Then you talk to him. Nick Heilig can talk about it. It's we hit him up for a quote, and he's just smash. You talk to him at weigh-ins. Yeah, you don't talk to him. He's just smash. He's a killer.
It's not that he's not a conversationalist, but when he's focused, actions do the talking. That's it.
So yeah, man, a big future for Sergey Paransuko, and then a guy like Ben Grady, who was 4-0 coming in this fight. I'm sure he's already back in the lab with the rest of the Evolution guys, working on tweaks to his game, seeing where he stacks up, and that's a great fight for him to take in his amateur career too, because it kind of lets him know where he is. And sometimes guys get away from that; they take their amateur career and they want to, just get guaranteed dubs. And it's like, then you go pro and you don't know who you are. These are the type of fight that define you as a fighter. Both guys learned a lot about themselves that night, and both of those guys have a big future.
Big time indeed. Ooh, indeed. Ah, man.
Killing those fight night IPAs.
Yeah, they've been going down, man. They're too good. They're too good.
All right, what we got next?
Next, ladies are up. Annabelle Kelly and Erin Johnson going the distance in their scrap, a very clinch-heavy game where Erin Johnson, a fan favorite around these parts, sold a boatload of tickets. War Baby has a distinct fan base, a very exciting fight style. In her loss against Anna Crutchfield, she gained a lot of fans, just showing her heart and toughness and desire to finish a fight, no matter how late or what kind of storm gets weathered. Following that up in this performance against Annabelle Kelly was much more experience coming to us from Syndicate out in Vegas, and she was able to get the better of the clinch exchanges and the wrestling portion of the mixed martial arts fight game, able to land some shots across all facets and distance in the clinch. And, even though Erin was finding her windows of opportunity, Annabelle Kelly ran away on the scorecards pretty early and stayed ahead the whole fight and scored the unanimous decision victory.
Yeah, this was a cool fight for a few reasons. You got two former Cage Titans fighters cornering against each other. Connor Matthews, who's on the Contender Series. Shout out to Connor Matthews, fighting in 3 weeks. Dana White's Contender Series. Good luck. We hope you get that contract. And then you have, and then you got Jay Perrin, who's now out in Vegas, Cage Titans Bantamweight champion before he got signed to the UFC. He's got a fight coming up next month. He comes in for the first time, and as Adam Russell pointed out, that was Perrin's first win as a coach. He said he was coming in like Coach Khabib, and he put up, and his fighter put out, and was able to pick up the victory and kind of silence the pro War Baby crowd at Memorial Hall.
Yeah, the away team coming away with the win. And we always say it all the time. Doesn't matter if you're an out-of-stater or whatnot. We're fans of both competitors in the cage. So somebody's going to be a winner. Somebody's going to be a loser. And this was one of those fights that was just a crowd silencer for Annabelle Kelly. Coming in and silencing the crowd in the judges' scorecards. Big win on her part.
I mean, and this is another reminder of sometimes, like, in the fight game, I see it a lot of times. People just look at guys' records or girls' records in this case, why I'm going to bring it up, and they think that tells the story of who the fighter is. Annabella Kelly came in with a 2-5 record, and probably a lot of people are like, all right, this is a showcase for War Baby. And, you can't judge people in this sport by their records. It doesn't tell the whole story. And, I think this was just another fight that was a reminder of that. And I hope the fans understand that. And that's important for them to understand. Like, you look at the fight itself, you look at the styles, you look at the individuals, you look at where they're training, who their training partners are, how long they've been training. There's so many elements that go into this when you matchmake and then when you put fights together. Like, you never know what you're going to get as a fan. So, like, wait till fight night before you pass judgment. Because, you might have a girl like 2-5 Annabella Kelly coming all the way in from Syndicate in Vegas, and you think, she's just going to be a footnote on the other fighter's career, and she comes out and pulls out the victory.
All my years of sitting cage side calling these fights, I know not to put any eggs in those baskets of records. Never know what's going to happen in there.
Yeah. And Adam Russell is correct. The out-of-state has been showing up lately. I mean, I think the emergence of the out-of-staters really was the party Joe Penafiel ushering it in. Like, he came in at the start of COVID, and he was the first real out-of-stater that like owned the moment and realized what I've been saying all along. I don't care if you're out of state or home state guy. Like, we have the stage, we're putting you in there, and one guy's going to win and one's going to lose. The out of stater is just as important part of the show as the hometown guy. And the party realized that. And he came in and he put on a show and he won fans over. And now guys are starting to see like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I can come to Cage Titans and make a name for myself. And it's absolutely true. Like, you know, he's our bantamweight champion now, and he's from Florida. And people ask me just as much about him as they do other hometown fighters. You know, with the streaming and all that stuff, like, we're getting the word out there, we're getting the name out there, and it doesn't matter whether you're 10 minutes living away from Plymouth or you live thousands of miles away and you're flying in. Like, you know, you have a home here at Cage Titans. We're going to promote you just equally the same. And these out-of-staters are absolutely right, man. And to answer Martina's question, we missed the party. When's he coming back? I did speak to him the other day. We're looking at August 27th. We're going to try to get the party back up here. Things didn't work out for the June and July show. The guy he was supposed to fight, he couldn't fight June. Then we were hoping to push it back to July. His opponent couldn't fight in July. I know his opponent's fighting next weekend. So maybe if everything comes out of that all well, I can reach out to him and see if we can get that fight booked for August 27th. If not, we're taking applications. You want to take on the party? Send it in. You know how to get in touch with me. I might not respond right away, but
The phone will get juiced before long.
yeah.
Before long.
Yes.
But we got the last fight on our undercard of Cage Titans 54 to address. This is the heavyweight title fight that everybody was dying for. And yeah, the big boy showed up to party. Jack Burke, the challenger, 1-0, coming to us from Jackson Wink, taking on the undefeated Hassan Graham at a Chapman's House of Pain. And yeah, don't blink in a heavyweight fight because anybody could take a nap and go to sleep. But you couldn't blink for this one because it was a beautiful hip throw to a scarf hold finish. I was a diehard. I jumped out of my seat when I saw this. You know, I'm not a heavyweight anymore, but I used to be on that I used to be on that end of the scale. And personally, I loved this scarf hold when it's a big man move, it's a big man choke, and you don't really see it at the amateur ranks at all. So when Hassan Graham was going for it, I'm sitting there like, no way. He's a little high on the diaphragm to finish this, but he got the tap. It was insane. I jumped out of my seat, couldn't believe it. For those, this is how hard in the paint that I am as a fan of the sport. That was how the first ever heavyweight championship was won by Mark Coleman in the UFC, was with that very finish. So hats off to Hassan Graham. He's shown his knockout prowess, his ability to stand and trade with anybody, some good ground and pound, but the submission skills on point early on. Loved the scarf hold finish. And who can forget the rapper walkout?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure. I think, Andy, you're cutting up. It could be my computer. I know the storm's rolling in. But anyways, Mark McKinley, Hassan, take my money. That is a perfect nickname. I love the hashtag. Definitely, he's a bad man. It's hunting season shirts. I mean, he definitely has a slogan there. Hassan's a showman. He brings it. You know, what I love about Hassan is, like, we talk about this all the time. Own the moment. We're entertainers. We're an entertainment company. Own the moment. This guy, for his title fight, rolled up in a stretch SUV limo, you know, balling. And then he comes out this time. He's like, Mike, can I come out with a rapper? I'm like, fuck yeah, let's come out with a rapper. Let's do something. Let's make it. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, if you're going to make a moment, bring us in the loop so that we can capture it for you and make sure we get it out. Hassan understands that. He's taken every fight with Cage Titans and he's tried to do something special with it to get his name out there, get eyeballs on him, and you know, and he's done a great job. And he's also backed it up inside the cage. Like, I didn't see that. I sure as fuck didn't see that coming. and I'm sure Jack Burke didn't see it coming. I don't know if anybody saw that hip toss coming.
I lost it.
And,
I lost
yeah.
it. That was crazy.
Dude, I remember I watched a little bit of the replay, and you're like, he doesn't got it. He's a little too high. And then I was like, I guess I'm wrong. He's tapping out. And yeah, man. What's next, Hassan Graham? I guess I'll blow up my spot. I did pop on Facebook for a couple minutes earlier today, and I did message with the big man. And we're gonna try to work on something next. So maybe August, possibly pro debut October or August. We'll see. We'll see where we go. And Hassan, drop the name of your rapper buddy in the comments, so that we can maybe people that enjoyed that. And hold on, Andy. Man, I wish if Nick is still on, if you can drop the video. Did anybody see the video of the walkout on Instagram where the girl in the front row, as he's walking down, she's like trying to grab Hassan, like a fan, just trying to grab him. And she's like, I just want to kiss him as he's walking by. And she's trying to grab him. And then she goes like this and she falls and she just falls over and she gets roped up in the wrap. It was insane. So I hit up Hassan. I'm like, yo, do you know that girl? Was like that your girlfriend or something? He's like, I have no clue who that girl is. And it was, Nick, if you can drop it in the comments.
I just want to kiss him, and then she falls.
She falls. Oh man, I gotta figure out a way to get this up. Hold on. I gotta get this up. Andy, keep talking because
big congratulations to Hassan Graham.
Insane. This girl just is like, it was like a
couple too many of these.
Yeah, possibly.
Brewing IPAs.
Oh, dude, she was just like, I want to kiss him. And she's like so excited for Hassan walking out. And then she topples over. And it was, oh, man, it was.
Hey, people get rowdy at Cage Titans. I don't know what else to say, especially for the heavyweight champs.
I'm going to see if I can share my screen. Oh, Hassan. Yeah, Martina, throw it in there if you have it. Let me see if I can share my screen. Hold on. I think I can share my screen. I'm going to go here. Can you see my screen, Andy?
Not yet.
Share. All right. I'm going to put
there
that
we
in.
go.
Oh,
I saw it.
Add the stream. Hold on. Don't look at that. All right. Here we go.
Oh, my God.
All right. So here we go. You guys can see this?
Yeah.
All right. You want to put the lights on, Mama? Hold on. Wait for it, Andy. You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Hold on.
I gotta
Look
see
to
the
right of the screen. Look to the right of the screen. Is this the one? Oh, yeah. You can't hear her. Look at, there she is high-fiving him. I want to kiss him. Boom! Just in case you guys missed
that. Look at go. Where's this chick?
Oh, man. Dude, our fans go hard. How hilarious is that, man?
Sit her next to Rob Pico.
Oh, it was
We need
awesome.
to go beer for beer.
Oh, so shout out to whoever that girl is. I hope you don't think we're picking on you. We love you as a fan. You know, we would love you to come
there, but we're definitely picking on you.
No, man. She was a part of the show. It's very much like, remember that time when the party was coming down and the guy was outside the building and he's headbutting and banging on the glass. Then remember the other time that the party went over to the kid with the green hair and went to dap him up and the guy didn't dap him up because party thought he was there for Bruno and he wasn't. He just happened to have green hair. So, we love the fans, you know, and you're a part of the show.
She got so drunk she tripped over a tied shoe.
You know what? She just thought it was pretty bad. I bet she was
it's
just
awesome. I love it. I'm a fan. I'm not hating. Just picking on her.
Yeah, she was feeling herself, and
that used to be me before I worked for Cage Titans. I almost fell off the rafters a couple of times.
Oh man! Shout out to Hassan Graham. Great fight. I spoke to Jack Burke. He's looking to get back in there. He mentioned 205. Yeah. Jack mentioned 205 for maybe August, so we'll see what happens.
Even though it was
who brought the lights on?
It was a short fight. You know, Jack Burke 1-1 now. Both fights ending in the first round. We didn't really get to see him showcase, but yeah, he had a great attitude going into it, and even in the quick loss, he knew he got caught in a crazy submission that you really don't get to see too many times. But yeah, he was a hungry competitor who was excited and took it all in and loved the experience, and looking forward to and that's a young kid at 205 pounds or heavyweight, does not matter. Yeah, looking forward to Jack Burke returning again, and Hassan Graham, the undefeated champ. If he goes pro, great. Gets another defense, great. Matters not to me. Looking forward to his next fight.
Yeah. Shout out to Tyler Pimentel. He needs a 35 and a 65er. Carlos was on earlier saying he's looking to dance in August, so maybe we can get something going there. He said he's open to anybody, and yeah, we'll talk. We'll definitely talk about some things. So shout out to Tyler Pimentel.
You're not my dad.
Yeah, as Andy calls you.
But yeah, that concludes the undercard for the Cage Titans 54.
All right, Andy, moment of the undercard. Give me your moment of the undercard. What was your favorite moment of the undercard?
Moment? Well, yeah, I lost my shit when Hassan Graham landed that scarf hold. That was it. That was the undercard was great. Top to bottom, every fight delivered. But when I saw that big time hip throw right into the Katami position, I think I'm pronouncing that right. But finishing that scarf hold choke, I lost my shit. That was awesome. Sub of the night, moment of the night.
Yeah, moment of the night. All right, there you have it. All right, let's go to the first one on the main card.
Keeping the titles going, the inaugural Muay Thai title. This at the middleweight division between Colin Superman Robinson and Lamont the Gold Panther Payne. And what a fight it was. Back and forth battle between these guys. Both guys hurting each other. Just the first we did Muay Thai a couple years back as a little bit of an experiment, and look where it is today. This being the first championship that you've put on the line here. There was a lot of backstory into this fight. Colin Robinson initially supposed to fight for the MMA title against Jadafer Ojukwu. Ojukwu had to pull out due to injury. Lamont Payne scored a win over Ojukwu in the Muay Thai ranks, earning him this title fight in his own right. And they delivered, went the distance through 5 rounds. Towards the end of the fight, Robinson was knocking Payne's mouthpiece out of his mouth pretty much the last 3 rounds and just putting on a volume clinic to really soar away on the scorecards and become the first ever Cage Titans amateur Muay Thai champ. So big congratulations to Superman. What a war it was. Both guys getting cracked and hurt every single round. Neither one wanted to go down. Both guys wanted that gold so bad. And for the first ever title fight in the Muay Thai ranks, I'm excited to see what kind of future these weight classes will bring.
Yeah, man, it opens up a whole new, thing for Cage Titans, like a whole new level of possibilities. Like, not too long ago, I've been very upfront about it. Like, I didn't come into this as a Muay Thai guy. Like, I wasn't a Muay Thai guy. I was more of a grappler when I fought. I was more in love with the grapple arts. Not really a Muay Thai guy. John Burgott, one of Lemon Payne's teammates, reminded me in the back room after the fight. He's like, Mike, like 3 years ago, because he comes into Coops, and he's like, 3 years ago, I asked you about Muay Thai, and you're like, nah, that's just not my thing. And he's like, I could kill you. Like, I wanted to fight. And he's like, you told me never at Cage Titans. And I guess I became the Dana White with the women's division. I was like, yeah, it's not my thing. Like, let the other people that's their thing to do it. But I got to say, I'm so happy that we've decided to do Muay Thai. I'm every fight that we've done, we haven't had any like snooze fests. It's been great. And even people that were fans of Cage Titans that kind of questioned me when we brought Muay Thai in, they're like, really? And I was like, yeah, we'll give it a shot. And after like the first couple fights, they're like, yeah, man, I'm a fan. Let's keep doing them. And it's been a great success. I just love that we can bring that Cage Titans energy to the Muay Thai world. These guys, there's been a lot of people that have held the Muay Thai up for so long. and doing smokers and things of that to keep these guys. But there wasn't, besides Lion Fight, there really was in No Boundary. There wasn't a lot of like big promotions that gave them the spotlight. And I'm excited that we're able to kind of shine that Cage Titan spotlight a little bit on the sport of Muay Thai, and help elevate it, give these fighters more opportunities to fight, more opportunities to compete, and also, somewhat an opportunity to compete safely. And you might be kind of being like, what does he mean? I mentioned smokers. A lot of times there's not a lot of Muay Thai fights, so these guys are stuck. I don't want to say stuck in a bad way, but like they have to fight in smokers, and they're not regulated. Sometimes there's not medical professionals there. And I bring this up because my first Muay Thai fight we ever did, Anthony Vasta, I'll just say it, he fought for us, and he was pretty concussed after the fight. And afterwards, the commission was talking to him, and the doctor, have you ever felt like this? He's like, oh yeah, like a week or so, I competed in the smoker, and I felt the same way. I was throwing up and all that stuff. And then they were like, holy shit, like you competed in the smoker. You probably were concussed. And here you are a week later. And they actually, the commission brought his parents in and were like, hey, listen,
that.
You got to be careful about where your son's competing. Like this is a legit show, but he's competing in these events with no doctors, medical professionals, all this stuff. And people like, we're fighters. Who gives a shit? Like, we'll fight anywhere. It's a real part. So I'm excited to have the sport, I guess. The long and the short of it, but I'm also super appreciative. Like I'm not talking ill about people. Like without some of these smaller shows,
I love
here.
The smokers. I love them. I love going. I love it's competing in them. It is what it is. They're great. They're part of the sport. Like you say, we're fighters. We fight. It's not of course it's not to like bash that stuff, but yes, safety's paramount, and to bring just another avenue for someone to compete in this level, if you will, and under the spotlight, under the same banner that has seen so many athletes develop in the combat sports world around this region. Love it. And to have finally called the first ever championship in Muay Thai was an absolute honor, and big congratulations to the new champ, Colin Robinson.
Yeah, man. And talk about, this is my theme. Talk about owning the moment. Like Colin Robinson, the mic work at the end of his fight, the call out, and he took the moment and he shined. He called himself a little mama's boy, and it was pretty badass. Like to see him own the moment. Like he didn't have to talk shit, and he just was, So when I say own the moment, that doesn't mean you have to be a shit talker. You don't have to be Conor McGregor and be boisterous and all this. If there's other ways to own the moment. And he did. He's just like, I'm a mama's boy. What's up, mom? Like, let's go. He said, let's go 5 times. Like a college frat boy. Like it was just a funny time, funny moment. And he owned it, and he made the most of it. So
another guy that was a pleasure to catch up with at the after party. Happy to have won it. Can't wait to come back. And I think he's still very hungry to get back in and fight MMA.
Yeah, he won in MMA. He went over to, I think, and got silver medal in something, in some sort of tournament thing that they did. So like this kid's legit. I'm excited to get him in the MMA world. And I mean, Jadoffer is waiting by, and that fight's going to be a banger. So yeah, I'm excited for that one too. So shout out to Colin. And Lamont has already reached out. He's looking for other opportunities. So, unfortunately, there's not a ton of 185s out there. So we'll do our best to get these guys right back in the mix, because they really brought it and they deserve another shot in the cage.
Yep.
Shout out to Tony Rivera. What's the good, fellas? We were talking about you earlier in the show. And Combat Night 1 was the first cage Muay Thai before.
Mm-hmm. That it was, and that was our last Muay Thai fight of this night. We're going into just MMA for the rest. Our last amateur fight of the night was the last amateur title fight that we had. And again, it's weird how this is all coming back. We might have to do this fresh we'll take a week off next time around before we break it down instead of being a zombie for it. I feel like I'm able to actually talk about these fights. I was kind of worried. I thought it was going to be a little foggy in the memory, but no, I feel like we're flying through this. No, not really. It's been an hour and a half, and we still got a few fights to go. But our last amateur fight of the night.
I think Andy, you're up to something because like usually like we always try to like drag ourselves to do a show the Monday after, and it's like we're not even recovered yet, and it's like, oh, I just want to get this over with. But yeah, man, we've had some time to digest. Obviously, I've had some time to mow my grass. You can see my red face. But yeah, man, dude, it's an hour and a half in. I feel just as excited talking about this.
I really feel like we're just getting started in a weird, scary way, knowing that we could probably do this for about 5 hours. And no, we're not going to do that to the good people. No.
All right, so let's go to the next one.
Yeah, next one.
Actually, I want to beat the rainstorm because it's going to start downpouring.
Yeah, it hasn't started pouring yet here, but I hear the thunder bumpies rolling in. So let's try and get.
Thunder
bumpies are rolling in pretty good. So
all right, let's go.
Tyler Smythe versus Joe Poirier. This is a fight that I kind of circled once it got made. As if you don't know now, you know. This is a fight that if you're a fan, you're going to want to watch because both guys are unbreakable finishers that are just gritty dogs in there, and they did not disappoint. Both guys nearly finishing each other with submission attempts. Joe Poirier latching on some guillotines, some great transitions. Tyler Smythe implementing the wrestling dominance later in the fight, and then was able to score the third round submission win, scoring a rear naked choke, back and forth. Both guys having to dig deep, and Tyler butter knife Smythe out of Evolution Athletics, bringing the gold back up to Maine, taking out Joe Poirier in his second attempt at getting that title. What a fight. They did not disappoint. Both guys showing their level. I think that Poirier even landed a couple of punches early that staggered Smythe. But Smythe was able to weather that storm, eat those shots, and get in on the hips and dominate the wrestling game until he got the finish. So it was, well, I wouldn't say dominate, but find his offensive moments in the wrestling game after he got tagged. And like I said, it's been a week and a half since this has happened. I got to go back and watch them all again. I usually do that, but vacation this week, it was needed. But big congrats to Tyler Smythe, the new champ at 125 pounds, new flyweight champ. Some legends have held that belt. And Joe Poirier, we know, is going to be back. Saw him at the after party. He's hungry to get back in and learn.
They're already talking about rematch, and Joe Poirier has been relentless. He's hit up Smythe directly, messaging back and forth. You know, Tyler's kind of like, yeah, man, you know, like, I got the dub, like, move on. And Joe's like, dude, I had you hurt. I had that guillotine. I want another shot. Funny enough, Nate, this belt was up for grabs because Nate Russell was vacating because he was going to plan on going pro. He actually reached out to me this past week and was like, "What's up, Mike? You matching August 27th?" He's like, I said, "Yeah, what are you thinking? Pro?" Or he goes, "I kind of like big amateur fights." And you know, Tyler
Smythe, he just vacated the title.
It's funny because when he vacated it, because originally he was going to go pro, and then he vacated, he goes, "What's it really matter? I'm going to fight one of these guys if I decide to stay amateur anyways." So his mindset, he's like, let them fight over the belt. And then he goes, if I decide to go pro, no harm, no foul, they have the belt. If I come back to amateur, I would have been fighting one of those guys anyways. So like to him, it really didn't matter. But enough. He did hit me up asking about that result of that fight.
And I like it.
Possibly.
Nate Russell won the belt and didn't even carry it to the after party. Just
Nate Russell he's just chill dude, and he said, "I like big fights, Mike," and he thinks that Tyler Smythe would be a big fight. I know that Joe was angling if Nate can't fight, he wanted an immediate rematch. I don't know what's going to happen. Like I said, I've kind of tried to lay as low as possible for the last week. I'm probably going to start picking it up towards the end of this week, beginning of next week, and really start honing in on fight and matchmaking.
I like it.
Yep.
So, Tyler the Butter Knife Smythe, the new flyweight champ at the amateur ranks, and Joe Poirier, we know, is going to be back. Loved that when it was made.
delivered, and yeah, there's
Catch up on Nick Hylo's comment. Muay Thai and Quartet grappling. We're definitely down. We love the Quartet grappling. We love having some introducing the grappling arts into, and the kids fights. Definitely that kid grappling match was a banger. It's really cool to see the grappling taken off. So we'll definitely be entertaining some Quartet grappling matches. I've talked about in the past where we've said like maybe we do an amateur head coach against another amateur head coach where they can take any amateur fighter and have them as their quartet, like say like Team Valdina versus Team Smythe, and you bring your 3, your 4, and I'll bring my 4.
Like an Ultimate Fighter type deal.
But they have to be an amateur. They have to be amateur fighter, and then maybe we do a pro one where it's like Team Cupcakes versus Team Bruno, and they can pick from pro fighters. And then we'll do like an open division where like BTT, Real BJJ. I'm sorry, I forget which name they're going by, but like the inaugural winning team, they'd be like the open division. Like they don't have to be fighters; they can be just straight beast jiu-jitsu players, and we'll do an open division. So that's something that I'm toying with.
This is why we go an hour and 80 minutes. We're just brainstorming shit. I love it.
Yeah. All right.
Endless possibilities.
Endless possibilities.
Next up, first pro fight of the night, Marcus Andrugia versus Joe Giannetti. Not much to say about this one. It was pretty quick work from Joe Giannetti, getting that first round guillotine choke, kind of a vintage performance on his and snatching a neck and cashing a check. But Marcus the Boogeyman Andrugia stepping up on short notice was a big time deal. A veteran of 30 fights under his own belt, taking on an Ultimate Fighter veteran who's taking a resurgence of his career, going for broke, and then just getting caught in a pretty nasty choke with his back up against the fence. And Giannetti really kicked up his aggression. I like the way he was piecing his hands together before he got that submission attempt, was patient with it, didn't like dive on the submission as he was apt to do earlier in his career, waited for the right opportunity to really sink it in, and got the finish early in the first round.
Yeah, shout out to Andrugia. He took this fight on a week's notice. He's a veteran of 30 pro fights, 10 and 18. And he knew he had an uphill battle ahead of him. I will tell you this, he was super complimentary of Cage Titans. He was like, I'm just glad I was able to come here, get my foot in the door. I want to come back with a full camp and show you guys what I'm really about. This is a former title holder in multiple different promotions at lightweight, earlier in his career. So like, this guy's no slouch. Don't let the performance, fool you. He's no slouch. That was a great performance by Giannetti. And with that also being said, like, I'm excited to see Marcus come back. Now we got we got a chance to see where he's at, and he wants to come back to prove that he's not that fighter that we saw. Like he has more to show, more to offer to the fans. As for Joe, true professional, man. This kid had his opponent fall out in June. He had his opponent fall out before that. This looked like it was going to be another, dud of a fight camp for this kid where he didn't get a chance to perform. Marcus was able to step in. Joe was a professional through the whole thing. He didn't say no to anybody. There was a lot of names, and that's just not my style. I'm not gonna throw anybody out there, but he took a lot of heat on social media. Oh, what's he doing fighting this guy, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, he said yes to a lot of guys that you'd be surprised he said yes to. And granted, there was a week notice for them, but it was also a week notice for him. So like, he said no to anybody. He didn't say no to anybody, Marcus was the guy that said yes. With that being said, one of the names that he said yes to was Trevor Goody. And unfortunately, Trevor Goody wasn't able to fight on July 2nd because he's doing his summer camp program back home in, I think, Kansas, right? Right, Andy? Kansas or Missouri?
Missouri.
So he's like, listen, if he's down for August, I'm down. I don't have anything going on. And I thought Giannetti was kind of just saying yes to Trevor at 170 because he didn't want the fight camp to go to waste. That would have been 2 shows in a row. But when Trevor couldn't do it, he's like, all right, let's set it up for August. And no hesitation. Joe's like, and then immediately after the fight, he's hit me up 3 times. He's like, it's on, right? It's on. And yeah, man, he's ready. He's jumping up to 170. He's looking to take on Trevor Goody. That's going to be our main event for August 27th. And what a fight it's going to be.
Fight is going to be crazy.
Yeah, definitely. And for those doubting Joe, you know, he really has, as of late, he's not picky, you know, and I see him getting some chatter, and it's like, if you want to fight him, just hit us up. And I will also say this. We do not have fighters under contract. And I say this for a reason. If you want JoJo to fight for you, he's not on a contract. He's not tied to us. Or fighters like, he won't leave cage side. That's his choice. He chooses to fight for us, and we appreciate that he chooses to fight for us. But he's free to go and fight any of you guys anywhere. If he's saying he wants to fight you at Cage Titans, that's just that just is what it is. Reach out and we can put that fight on. I got no problem putting the fights on. And JoJo does not say no. So that's just the reality of the situation. You know, I think it's important to put that out there. Like, I've had a couple promoters like, oh, well, you let JoJo go free. And I'm like, I don't handcuff my fighters. I don't make them sign a piece of paper that says they have to fight for me. I want guys that want to fight for us, and they believe in the platform that we can provide, and they believe in what we can do for them in their career with the platform that we have. So that's not the case. If you heard differently, you're mistaken. And if Joe's not accepting the fight for you and your promotion, I don't know. Maybe you know, I wouldn't badmouth him for that. You know, maybe he's just loyal because we've treated him well. It's not that he's ducking anybody. It's just that, you know, he knows he's been treated well, and we've done right by him. You know, there's a reason why guys like him has fought his whole career for us. Slippery Pete, Peter Barrett. You know, the list goes on. Like, and I see them getting unfairly treated. Like guys like, oh, they want to fight in the small pond. I've seen that interview done at least 3 times in the last month. Oh, they want to fight in the small pond. I mean, you're calling them out. So how small is our pond? You're calling their name. I just don't get it. And it's baffled me as of late. And as you can say, sometimes I go on a tangent, Andy, when we win this show, because I bite my tongue a lot. But like, this is something that's been bothering me a little bit. Like, I see these guys doing interviews, not just about Joe Giannetti. I saw it about Shanis. I've seen it about Pete. It's like, oh, they want to fight in that pond. It's like, well, maybe that says something about Cage Titans and the way they're treated. And if you're jumping around from promo to promo, like, maybe that should tell you something about yourself. Like, you know, like, or the promos you're fighting for. I don't know. Sorry, man. I'm sorry, guys. I digress. But, you know, it's definitely something that's been.
You got that wind and storm blowing behind you, where that plants is starting to look like it's your hair that you lost. I don't know how many years ago. I'm getting the hiccups from these IPAs. We're at 1 hour and 45 minutes, boss.
Let's go. Keep it going.
Keep it going. I lost track. I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about anymore.
Gabriella Golfin versus Hillary Rose. No?
Spencer Higa versus Zach D7.
Oh, yeah, man. What a banger that fight was, huh?
Yeah, both guys really, bro. Sorry, I got the hiccups out of nowhere. You just went on a tangent talking about why no one's fighting JoJo or whatever. Like, hey, we know that what we do is different. We don't brag about it or anything, but there's a reason he wants to fight for us. No contract, no holding anybody to handcuffs.
Shout out while you get rid of the hiccups. Boogs. Mike, we on Boog strike. Boogs, we're looking for you August 27th. I know that, you know, unfortunately you had to pull out of June. Unfortunately, Bruno had to pull out of July, but I had talked to Bruno, and he said, "Listen, man, gonna have me take my summer off." Bruno, I was just gonna say, Bruno, August 27th. He said it's on. So if August 27th works for you, Lionel, third time's the charm. This is a fight that a lot of people wanted to see. He reached out to me, so I think we'll talk afterwards. We won't make fights on in the comments, but I will let you know, Boogs, we want you back. And that's a fight that people have been dying to see. And if it's on, it's on, and we'll talk after this. Anywho, Zach DeSab and Spencer Higa.
Yeah, we got lightning strikes in the horizon. We got to get this going. But yeah,
let's go.
Crazy fight back and forth. DeSab landing bombs. Higa showing his Hawaiian toughness, landing strikes in his own. And then once DeSab was able to implement the wrestling game plan, that was really the differentiator in the fight. It was going back and forth, but then whenever DeSab was able to get the top pressure, he was trying to sink in chokes in every single round. And Spencer Higa's got gills on him. He just would not sink deeper into the choke, give him the thumbs up and smiling the whole way. And, Zach probably was asking himself what he's got to hit this guy with to put him away. And then towards the end of it, what do I got to do to sink in a choke to put this guy away? Spencer Higa showing in the ultimate toughness, but DeSab putting on a shutout performance.
Yeah, man. I mean, and Zach DeSab 10-2. He lost, I think, back-to-back fights to Estelle and Barrett, but he's put a nice little win streak back together, and he's looking great doing it. The kid just throws hammers. He's just nonstop pressure. Hard not to say, like, what could be next for DeSab. He's not going to fight for the 55 title against a guy like Barrett. I mean, I'm sorry, like JoJo. I know he's mentioned the rematch with Barrett. I don't know how interested Barrett was into that, so I don't think that might happen or come to fruition. I mean, does he get a shot at the contender? I mean, at 10-2, maybe that in the fall. It'd be interesting to see where he goes from here. He's a nice, humble, great kid.
He's kind of in that weird spot where he's on a big win streak. Doesn't really like to talk and promote himself very much. Very humble in his approach and really humble in his fight game. Just goes in to take care of business and make some real gritty dog fights anytime he does step in there. So he's in that weird limbo where not in a position to fight for a belt, because I don't see him ever fighting Joe Giannetti. Maybe that rematch with Peter Barrett is on the horizon and another passing of the torch type fight. So who knows? He's got plenty of options, and for my money, he's right up there in the upper echelon of people willing to and ready to get that call up to the contenders. He's right on up there as much as anybody else at this day and age. You got Conor Matthews already fighting there in August. Don Shainis chomping at the bit. Joe Giannetti right there up in the pinnacle of next guys from this region to make it to the big show. And you could throw that name, Zach DeSabatino, right in that mix as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So great job by Zach. And as always, Spencer Higa is such a pleasure to have fighting for us. Always all the way from Hawaii. He's just such a great guy. I can't say enough about him. He brings me chocolates every time he comes. And he's just always appreciative of everything we do when he's here. Always thankful. Just a great guy, and he brings it every time. Like, when you see Spencer Higa on the card, it's like, all right, this is going to be a brawl. This is going to be a fight. So shout out to Spencer as well. Look forward to hopefully having you again. I mean, at 155, who hasn't he fought? He's fought Barrett. He's fought DeSab. Giannetti cornered him before, so that probably is never going to happen. We'll see what happens. Anyways, let's move on because the storm is definitely brewing. I'm starting to see the
getting rained on right now, boss. It's starting to
let's go.
Come on,
let's go.
So here we go. Our co-main event. Hillary Rose making her long-awaited Cage Titans return as a competitor against Gabriella G. Daddy Golfin. And Hillary Rose, a staple around these parts, brought a plethora of fans. And what do we always say at Cage Titans? It doesn't matter where you're from. There's two people going in there. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. And Gabriella Golfin really playing a crowd silencer, scoring the first round rear naked choke after almost getting choked out herself. She was in some rough spots in that first round. Hillary Rose looking like she's going to make easy work in this comeback to the Cage Titans arena. But then Golphin able to turn the tables, take the back, and score a first-round rear naked choke, and the whole entire stadium just went silent, and she got the big-time W for the away team. And that walkout, too. How do you forget that walkout?
It's so funny because, like, Hillary is so intense. Her walkout was like she was shot out of a can, like, all game face. Gabby, like, you've seen her at weigh-ins. She's just kind of like, I don't want to call her shy and timid, but I guess that's kind of like, she's just kind of like a
she's
shy,
reserved. I wouldn't say she's
reserved.
Shy,
there we go.
But very reserved, yes.
Reserved. You know, the first time we had her fight for us, she just kind of came in her little trench coat with her bagged lunch and her Stop and Shop
ball
bag.
that she's always
So you know, this time she comes out on the stage with that walkout, and I was just like, who stole Gabby Golphin and replaced her with this? And she came out of her shell. And she had a great performance. You're right, silenced the crowd. I got a chance to talk to her afterwards, and she said, you know, I was kind of overcoming some personal stuff that I had going on in my life, and this is the real me. Like, I like to have fun. I like to joke. I like to be that person. You finally, like, this was my coming out party. And I was glad I was able to do what I did on stage and then be able to perform because, you know, she said she was fighting some stuff that she had going on and trying to overcome some things. And this was her coming out party. And again, she owned the moment. She owned the stage, and then she backed it up in the cage.
Yep. Big congrats to Gabriella Golphin. And are we going to be able to wrap this up within 2 hours? Maybe. We're on to the main event, boss.
Yes. I was going to say, who else is left at 25 to fight Gabriella Golphin? Like, and what's next for Hillary Rose? You know, at 115. They fought at 120, but I know Gabby said she'd rather not do that again. You know, but speaking of the 125 flyweight division, I guess I'll drop a little hint. Christina Katsikis, the meat grinder, will be back August 27th. The meat grinder is locked in, confirmed, contract signed, and her opponent we will release next week.
What?
Sorry, man. Why, you really want me to get...
What was the point?
Well, it's just telling you the meat grinder was back.
Without an opponent?
All right, fine. Carolyn Biskup out of Michigan is coming into town to take on the meat grinder.
All right, now I got some homework to do.
Yes.
And on to the main event. A legendary one that you spent a little bit of time cleaning up after this early afternoon.
Which that you bring up a great point. I got to end this in 8 minutes because before the rain comes, I know what you're going to say. The cage mat is on my grass right now drying. I spent friggin' 4 hours. Jacob Bond and Peter Barrett have now officially become the worst bloodied cage mat in the history. And the title used to be held by John Duma, but this mat was the worst I've ever seen it. 2 trips to the store for hydrogen peroxide and cleaning materials. I washed it once. I washed it twice. I had to wash it 3 times with the power washer and all the gear. It's currently on my lawn airing out. So this fight was insane. Go ahead, Andy. Take us home.
Was insane indeed. I knew when this fight was made, Jacob Bone, a late replacement for Dewan Owens, for Peter Barrett, that this was going to be a bloodbath, and they did not disappoint. Both guys, dynamic strikers, absolute dogs in there, no say-die attitude. The leg kicks, the straight punches, the bombs, the combinations they were both landing, doing a very sophisticated yet violent and chaotic dance throughout the cage, painting it with their blood on all 6 corners of that hectagon cage that we got at Cage Titans. It was insanity for as long as it lasted. That 3rd round finish was, I thought, initially a little early, but then afterwards, it was just everything left in the gas tank. Everything left out of the tank from both Bone and Peter Barrett. Barrett almost finishing them towards the end of the 2nd round, and then the elbows in the ground and pound. It was a great stoppage, a fantastic war from both competitors. And though he's been on the losing side of 2 of them, between Joe Giannetti and Peter Barrett. Jacob Bone can say that I got to say, he's been one half of two of the best damn scraps that I have seen at Cage Titans. So hats off to him and Peter Barrett putting on a violently eloquent performance in the main event, late night, going in there, finding his range with his left hand, timing the kicks. Thought it was a great performance on his level. The aggression was through the roof, and it was a vintage Peter Barrett, bloody, gritty performance. Loved it. Great main event. Both guys, just thrilled to see them both back in the cage, whatever their next adventures might be in there. Can't wait.
There was one corner of the cage with blood, and that was directly across from you. The Tavern on the Wharf logo survived with not a drop of blood on it, but every the center, it was everywhere was covered except for that one spot. So directly across from you guys in the commentary booth was the only spot they must not have fought in. But there was blood everywhere. It was crazy. I got a chance to catch up with Jacob Bond. I actually saw him walking the streets of Plymouth the next morning after the fights. Was able to catch up with him a little bit, talk about the fight. He had a couple staples on the backside of his head. He had a couple stitches in the front. One of my favorite pitches. Yeah, one of my favorite pitches. Both of those guys up in the locker room, side by side, getting stitched by both doctors. It was a very cool picture that I think Jacob shared the other day. And it was just funny. These guys went to war together, and then there they are laying next to each other with the doctors with their headlamps getting stitched up, both guys getting stitched up. Jacob's brought it every time. And Slippery Pete, you know what to expect. Slippery's had every one of his fights, except for the ones when he was in the UFC. Every fight's been with Cage Titans. You know what you get when you get a Peter Barrett fight. He's throwing sledgehammers, and Jacob Bond. We saw him in the Giannetti fight, and he brought it once again. Man, I mean, unbelievable main event for the people who stuck around. It was a long night, but the people who stuck around, they were definitely in for a treat. That video is now up. Individual fight is now up on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't, definitely go watch that one back.
And I still got blood on all this paperwork I'm putting away from that fight. That's how crazy it was.
Yes. So, yeah, man, that caps us off. Cage Titans 54. As Andy closes it, we close the book on Cage Titans 54. And not only that, we closed the book on a tremendous year.
The year was insane.
I've said this time and time again. Our first show back from COVID was July 10th, so almost exactly a year ago. And we've talked, Andy, like we didn't know if we were ever going to do Cage Titans again. And then when things started opening back up, our goal was like, all right, let's put this on our backs. Let's jumpstart the sport back up here in New England. Let's get all these guys who were sitting on the sidelines that had no way to compete and continue their love in this sport. Like, let's get them back in the cage. Let's get them back competing. We've done something we've never done before. 9 shows in 12 months. A lot of these fighters were more active than they ever been. I sit back tonight and I reflect on that. It's been an amazing year. And it wouldn't be possible without all you guys, from fighters to fans to staff, all of us. Like, it's been fun because there was a point in time we didn't know if we'd ever have this again. And not only did we able to come back, but we came back with a vengeance. We came back, 2 shows in one day, 2 shows in 1 month. There's so many crazy things that we did.
I can't believe some of the shit that we pulled off that was pulled off by anyone in our crew. It came back with a resurgence, to say the least, and it's every single piece matters, from the fans to the fighters to everybody that's part of the behind the scenes at Cage Titans, people you see on fight night, and it's just an immense amount of gratitude that I feel. I can't imagine how you feel behind it all. Come back,
I will, man. You know me. I get emotional about the sport because, how much I really care about it. And I started this. I say it all the time, and people probably like, I've heard this, or if you haven't, like, I started this because there were shitty people in the sport. They were just shitbag promoters that ripped off fighters. gave false information on opponents just to get fights made. And I said, no, man, this isn't the way to do it. These fighters put way too much time, effort to live that dream, to live that moment, and that's why we're here. And that's why we do what we do. It's been a tremendous year. It was a great way to cap off a year of resurgence. Memorial Hall, Plymouth, America's hometown, 4th of July weekend, Stars and Stripes through and through. We were definitely the stereotypical American for this weekend with all the Stars and Stripes. Makes you sick. We're the only thing we were short is the Stars and Stripes overall set.
Don't tempt me.
Yeah, man. I mean, everybody. I say this. Everybody put blood, sweat into what we've done for the last year. The fighters, the coaches, the teammates, the fans, the girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever. Like, this was our year, guys. And thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it and allowing us to be a part of it and be able to showcase your talent to not only the fans that are in the stands at the night, but to everybody. Thank you. And I can promise you that though I feel beat up at the moment, hopefully you can hear it in my voice. Like, I'm excited, when I talk about this, because like, I know August 27th and shows on beyond that. Like, you guys are just going to keep doing what you're doing. You're going to keep raising the bar, and we're going to be doing big things, and we're going to do it together. We all need each other. We all are Cage Titans. And I say that honestly, like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, this is you guys. This is all of us. Like, we all do this together. This is not me. This is not Andy or Tyler or Will or any of these guys. Like, we're all a part of it. But it's all that fuel that keeps the engine chugging. And when I'm having a bad day, Andy's, his exuberance for the sport picks me up. And then maybe when you're having a bad day in the training mat, you have a teammate that picks you up. And there's like, it's just a tremendous energy.
It's a community.
Yeah, man, I truly enjoy being a part of. I just love it. So thank you guys.
Did you see the lightning strike, or is that a firefly? I can't tell, but
but anyways,
rolling through. You got to get that mat all cleaned up.
Well, the mat is out there drying, so I got to get out.
We've been on for 2 hours. This is a record night, especially on Zoom, and it was just us two talking for the most part. But,
thank you to Carlos Ballester for calling in. We appreciate Collins. It's super easy, Carlos. As Carlos saw, it's just basically click on the link and you pop up on our screen and we can pull you in. It worked out pretty well. Porch Titans today. It's a first, Porch Titans. And we pulled it off. So thank you guys.
Indeed. We'll probably be back at Coops next week. Starting maybe take another week off and then be back in 2 weeks as we get some matchups to make for y'all. But thank you.
Giannetti versus Trevor Goody, man. Come on.
We'll be dropping a poster. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in to Table Titans. As always, we'll see you August 27th. And also, that's about it. Thanks to everybody that came through July 2nd, July 4th weekend. It was a hell of an event. It was kind of an tweener event. We kind of threw it together a little bit. And without you guys, none of it's possible and none of it's worth it. So from the bottom of the heart, thank you very much.
You said it perfectly. None of it's worth it, man. Like we talk about it all the time, like as tired and beat up and all that stuff. It's like, on fight night, that's just an adrenaline rush like no other. And, it feeds us. And yeah, man, it's thank you guys. I mean, thank you. We're rambling, but it's just, it's sometimes it's no words can express it. And I can't say it enough, how appreciative I am of everybody. Thank you. Thank you to the fighters, the fans, everybody that's part of Cage Titans. We are Cage Titans, and we will see you soon.
Cheers, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers. I don't have my Monster anymore. It blew away in the winds. My water bottle blew away in the winds. I got nothing. So cheers for you, Andy. Cheers for all you guys. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much. And we'll leave you with the recap from Cage Titans 54.
We unleash the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. We have every right to dream heroic dreams. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. We unleash the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. We have every right to dream heroic dreams. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look.